There are people who walk through life with a quiet ache, not for attention, but for safety. They do not fear being invisible. They fear what happens when they are not. When the gaze turns toward them, something within contracts. They smile, they nod, they speak, yet beneath every word lies an echo of retreat. Because being seen means being known. And being known means being vulnerable to rejection, to judgment, to loss. They live between two desires, to connect and to hide. To be understood, but never exposed. Their lives are soft performances, gentle disguises shaped by old pain. Not because they lack courage, but because once, being seen cost them something they could not afford to lose. This is the quiet psychology of those who fear being truly seen. They learn early that being watched can wound. Sometimes it begins in a small moment, a laugh that came at their expense, a silence that followed their truth, a punishment that arrived after honesty. And so, they begin to shape themselves into something palatable, something quieter, something safer. It's not deception, not really. It's survival. The child who once spoke freely now edits every word before it leaves their mouth. The teenager who wanted to express themselves learns which versions of their personality are met with approval, and which ones draw discomfort. Over time, the habit becomes invisible. They call it being easygoing, private, or low maintenance. But beneath those identities lives a deep calculation. What part of me can I show without losing love? The mask forms gently, layer by layer. It's woven from politeness, from the fear of conflict, from a deep intuition that being too visible might mean being too vulnerable. They learn to laugh at the right times, to agree when they want to protest, to apologize before anyone asks. They blend into rooms as if their existence were an inconvenience to others. They become masters of emotional choreography, crafting a version of themselves that feels acceptable, digestible, safe. And on the surface it works. They are liked. They are trusted. They are even admired for their calmness, their humility, their ability to adapt. But the approval they earn comes with a quiet cost. It is not them being loved, but their mask. And so, love becomes something they cannot fully feel. Compliments land softly but never sink in. Because deep down, they believe, if you saw who I really am, you might leave. Psychologists call this self-concealment, the tendency to withhold personal distress, emotions, or identity for the sake of social harmony. But for those who live it, the term feels too clinical. It doesn't capture the ache of watching one's true self fade in the mirror, replaced by a version fine-tuned for survival. For some, this masking begins in families where emotions are seen as weakness. A child cries and the parent says, "Stop being dramatic." A teenager shares a dream and someone laughs. A small moment, easily forgotten by the world, but remembered forever by the one who learned that honesty comes with punishment. Others grow up in environments where love is conditional. You are good when you're quiet. You are lovable when you don't cause problems. You are safe when you are invisible. And so they grow into adults who mistake invisibility for peace. In social settings, they feel like observers rather than participants. They mirror others' energy, adjust their tone, calibrate their smiles. If someone raises their voice, they shrink a little. If someone praises them, they deflect. They are fluent in the language of self-erasure. They often wonder why connection feels so distant, even when surrounded by people. Why conversations leave them tired. Why love feels heavy. Because every interaction demands effort. The effort to maintain the version of themselves that others can accept. To the outside world, they seem composed. To themselves, they feel hollow, a quiet actor trapped in an endless performance. Yet, this mask is not an enemy. It once served a sacred purpose. It kept them safe when safety was not guaranteed. It helped them navigate unpredictable worlds, unstable love, and volatile emotions around them. It is not something to be hated, it is something to be understood. But the longer it stays on, the harder it becomes to breathe. And at some point, they realize that the mask they built to survive is the same thing preventing them from truly living. The fear of being seen does not mean they wish to stay hidden. It means they long for safety before they can step into the light. The mask is not cowardice, it's a plea. Please let me be seen gently. Every fear begins somewhere. But unlike the fears of heights or darkness, the fear of being seen is rarely loud. It doesn't come with screams or sudden panic. It grows in silence, in the soft places where love should have felt safe. Sometimes, it begins with shame. A parent's disapproving look, a teacher's public correction, a friend's mocking laugh. Moments that seem trivial from the outside but strike deep for a child still learning what it means to exist. Because in those early years, love and identity are intertwined. To be loved is to be allowed. And when a child's authentic self meets rejection, they begin to associate visibility with danger. The brain, still tender and unformed, takes notes. It learns that exposure equals pain, that attention can hurt, that the safest way to be loved is to never be fully known. Developmental psychologists often describe this as the attachment wound. When a child's emotional needs are dismissed or shamed, their internal system reorganizes itself for survival. They do not stop needing connection, they simply learn to pursue it cautiously. Love becomes something to earn, not something to trust. Over time, the child's nervous system adapts. Heart rate quickens when eyes linger too long. Muscles tense when someone asks a personal question. Their body remembers what their mind tries to forget. That openness once led to hurt. And as the child grows, the fear grows with them. It follows them into friendships, workplaces, and relationships, whispering, "Careful. Don't show too much. Don't let them see what they might not like." Some roots go deeper still, into households where love came with conditions. Perhaps affection was given only when achievements were met. Or warmth was replaced by criticism disguised as care. "You'd be perfect if you just tried harder. Why can't you be more like them?" In these homes, children learn to curate themselves. They display their bright sides, hide their shadows, and strive to become the version that pleases others. It's not that they are unloved, it's that their love feels fragile, dependent on performance. Years later, they become adults who fear mistakes, who panic at intimacy, who retreat when someone gets too close. Not because they don't want love, but because love feels like a test they might fail. For others, the root lies in neglect, the kind that leaves no visible scar. When emotional needs go unnoticed, the message is subtle but devastating: you don't matter enough to be seen. And so, invisibility becomes familiar. Comfortable, even. They learn to exist quietly, expecting little from others, protecting themselves from the disappointment of being overlooked again. This is how the fear of being seen becomes not just emotional but existential. It's not simply about exposure, it's about survival. To be unseen is lonely, but to be seen and misunderstood feels unbearable. Modern psychology identifies this pattern through several frameworks: avoidant attachment, where closeness triggers discomfort; social anxiety, where scrutiny feels threatening; imposter syndrome, where success feels undeserved. Different names, same root: the fragile belief that one's true self is somehow unworthy of love. These mechanisms are not flaws, they are adaptive blueprints. They were formed in moments when the world felt unsafe, and they kept the person alive in it. But what once protected them now confines them. Because every time they hide, they reinforce the old lesson that to be authentic is to be at risk. And yet, even in the most guarded hearts, there remains a quiet longing to be recognized without performance, to be held without pretending. It is the original human desire, to be known and loved at once. The fear of being seen is not a weakness. It is the scar tissue of someone who once reached out for love and found it conditional. Someone who learned to stay small because the world was too large to hold them safely. But even scars, given time, can soften. And beneath every mask, there remains a face still waiting to be met, gently, truthfully, and without fear. To understand the fear of being seen, one must look not only into memory, but into the body. Because fear, when repeated often enough, stops being a thought. It becomes a reflex. A language the nervous system speaks fluently. When someone experiences judgment or rejection, the brain interprets it as a threat, no different, in structure, from physical pain. The amygdala, the brain's alarm system, lights up. The hypothalamus releases stress hormones. The anterior cingulate cortex, responsible for processing social pain, activates in the same regions as those used when the body is physically hurt. To the brain, being emotionally exposed is not symbolic danger, it is survival danger, and so, invisibility becomes not merely a preference, but a physiological response, a way to regulate safety in a world that once proved unpredictable. When someone fears being seen, their body moves subtly to protect them. Shoulders fold inward. Eyes avert. The voice softens. They unconsciously shrink their physical presence, as if smaller bodies might invite less scrutiny. In psychological terms, this is defensive self-presentation, the quiet art of minimizing oneself to prevent harm. Over time, these small acts of self-protection crystallize into identity. They no longer feel like choices. They feel like who the person is. Social neuroscience calls this habitual inhibition. Repeated avoidance of visibility rewires the prefrontal cortex, conditioning it to suppress emotional expression before it even surfaces. The brain becomes an efficient filter, discarding vulnerability long before it reaches the surface. What remains is a calm exterior, controlled, pleasant. But inside, the emotional circuitry hums with unspent electricity, feelings that were prepared to be shared but never found their way out. Studies on social rejection reveal that people who experience chronic emotional invalidation exhibit heightened activity in the insula, the region linked to self-awareness and internal sensations. This means they feel more, but express less. They are acutely attuned to the mood shifts around them, hyper-aware of tone and micro-expression, always scanning for signs of disapproval. It's a form of emotional hypervigilance, a skill once meant to protect but now exhausting to sustain. The irony is profound. The more they hide, the more sensitive they become to the threat of exposure. Their body lives in a low-level state of alert, interpreting every act of openness as potential danger. They don't just fear being seen, their nervous system anticipates it as harm. Cognitive psychology adds another layer. Repeated self-concealment creates confirmation bias. The brain begins to seek evidence that supports its fear. A neutral glance becomes disapproval. A pause in conversation becomes rejection. The mind edits reality to confirm its oldest lesson: it's safer to stay unseen. Even success can trigger discomfort. When achievements draw attention, the old neural pathways activate, the same circuits that once responded to threat. That's why praise can make them anxious. Visibility feels like vulnerability, not validation. And yet, inside all of this is not pathology, but protection. The human brain is beautifully adaptive. It builds defenses out of experience, rewiring itself for safety first, authenticity second. For someone who fears being seen, the instinct is not self-sabotage, it's self-preservation carried too far. But the science also carries hope. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, means that safety can be relearned. When someone experiences non-judgmental connection, when they share and are met with understanding rather than rejection, the amygdala quiets. The stress signals slow. The body begins to learn that visibility no longer equals danger. This is why gentle relationships matter. They are not simply emotional, they are neurological rehabilitation. Every moment of safe authenticity rewires the old circuitry, teaching the body to relax in the presence of exposure. The science of invisibility is, in truth, the science of safety, of how the human organism bends itself around pain, and how, through kindness and connection, it can slowly unbend again. There is a quiet war that happens inside those who fear being seen. It is not fought with anger or noise. It is a war of silence, of hesitation, of endless self-negotiation. One part of them longs to be known. Another part, older and stronger, warns them to stay hidden. This conflict is invisible to the world. From the outside, they appear calm, kind, agreeable. Inside, they live in a constant push and pull between authenticity and safety. They think before they speak, not out of wisdom, but out of fear. They review their sentences as they leave their lips. They measure how much truth they can reveal without unsettling the balance. Every moment of openness feels like standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure whether the next step will lead to freedom or fall. It's an exhausting way to live. Because every time they hide, they betray the part of themselves that craves connection. And every time they show themselves, they awaken the old terror that once kept them alive. It's a paradox that no amount of reasoning can dissolve, because both sides are trying to protect the same thing, the heart. Psychologists often describe this tension as cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort that arises when two opposing beliefs coexist. But this isn't just mental, it's emotional dissonance. The heart holds both truths at once. I want to be seen and I'm terrified of it. It feels like pressing your face against a glass wall, seeing the world of connection so close, yet never fully stepping through. You can sense the warmth on the other side, but the body refuses to move. In relationships, this war is most visible. They long for intimacy, for someone who might understand the hidden parts, yet the moment someone looks too closely, panic stirs. They withdraw. They minimize. They change the subject, smile, and say, "I'm fine." And afterward they regret it. They wonder why they keep retreating just when things start to feel real. It's not that they don't trust the other person, they don't trust safety itself. Because safety, to them, has never been consistent. They are both the prisoner and the guard, locking themselves in the cell of self-protection while yearning for someone to notice the door. This inner conflict also appears in their self-image. They oscillate between pride and shame, pride in their composure, shame in their invisibility. They are praised for being calm, but the praise feels hollow. Because calmness was never their nature, it was their shield. At times, they catch glimpses of who they could be without fear. Moments when laughter escapes unfiltered, when words flow without self-censorship. In those fleeting seconds, they feel alive, unarmored, present, real. But then the realization hits, I've let too much show. And immediately they retreat. What follows is emotional hangover, the internal scolding, the review of every sentence, the whispering doubt. Did I reveal too much? Did I seem weak? Did they judge me? The mind replays the scene, searching for evidence of rejection, even where none exists. Because that is how the fear sustains itself, not through reality, but through rehearsal. Over time, this war shapes their relationship with the self. They begin to confuse invisibility with humility. They tell themselves, "I just prefer to stay private," or "I don't need attention." And while some of that may be true, beneath it lies fatigue, the exhaustion of constantly managing how others perceive them. To live half seen is to live half alive. But to be fully seen feels unbearable. And so, they exist in between, visible enough to belong, hidden enough to feel safe. It's not indecision, it's loyalty to the part of them that once protected them from pain. They cannot simply choose visibility until the body believes it's safe. But slowly, through time and small acts of courage, something begins to shift. The war doesn't end all at once, it softens. The guard starts to listen to the prisoner. They realize they've both been fighting for the same thing, peace. Invisibility was never the goal. Safety was. And perhaps, there is a way to have both, to be seen without losing oneself. It is here, in this quiet truce, that transformation begins. They begin to live again, softly. There is no sudden transformation, no cinematic awakening. Only a quiet, gradual loosening, the kind that no one notices but them. They wake one morning and realize that the air feels lighter. The same mirror that once frightened them now feels neutral. Not beautiful, not ugly, just honest. Healing, they learn, is not about becoming fearless. It is about allowing the fear to stay, but not letting it speak louder than truth. It is sitting with the discomfort of being seen, and staying anyway. They begin to speak more slowly, less defensively. They laugh without rehearsing the sound first. They tell someone, "I was scared to tell you this," and wait for the silence that follows, no longer rushing to fill it. They are learning that silence can hold safety too. There are still days when the old patterns whisper back, when the mind warns, "Don't say too much," or the body tenses as if preparing to disappear again. But now they meet these moments with gentleness. They understand that visibility and vulnerability are not permanent states. They ebb and flow. Like breathing. Like tides. Being seen is no longer a performance, but a quiet act of existence. It's the way the sunlight touches their face and they no longer turn away. It's how they meet someone's eyes and don't immediately search for escape routes. It's how they rest their hands on the table, unhidden. To be truly seen, they realize, is not something another person gives, it is something one allows. A surrender, not a chase. A slow return to the truth that has always lived inside, and in that return, they find something unexpected: peace. Not the loud kind, not the triumphant kind, but the kind that feels like home. A peace that doesn't need validation. A peace that says, I am here. I exist. And that is enough. The world hasn't changed. The people around them still move fast, still judge, still misunderstand. But within, there is space now, a quiet interior room where they can rest without pretending. And sometimes, in that quiet, they realize the most beautiful thing, that the act of being seen is not about exposure, but connection. That when two people dare to truly look at each other, past fear, past armor, something sacred happens. Not a loss of control, but a recognition, you too are trying to be real. And maybe that's what it means to heal from the fear of being seen, not to erase the fear, but to learn how to stand in the light with it. To let others glimpse the trembling, the rawness, the unedited humanness, and trust that it is still worthy of being known. Because in the end, it's never about visibility. It's about belonging to yourself, and through that, to the world. Fade out. The voice softens. Somewhere, someone is learning to be seen again. Quietly. Patiently. And perhaps, that someone is you.